complicated vest.
A lot of colors, things.
A vest? We're not doing the vest. But
see, folks, Joy protects me like a sister would protect.
You're making me nervous.
I make her very nervous. So when I said that,
because every couple months you get an idea for your appearance.
Yeah.
That you'd like to experiment with. Now I change my hair all the time.
Every day.
Every day.
And I always
my,
support you.
Yes.
On every one of them.
But I make mostly good choices.
You are so Ann. I have to when I'm going out, I have to go to the closet and say, Ann, is this okay?
Yeah, that's most men, though.
All right. Last night, she thought I was pretty hot, but most times I have to go back and try again.
Well, we have to circle back to this vest thing. Are you talking about like a vest like a magician would wear?
Yeah, like Doug Henning. Magic is illusion and illusion is magic. Doug Henning. Yeah, he's really, I don't know. I'm not talking about the guy that smashed Hammer on produce, Gallagher. It'd be like David Copperfield. Vest.
I'm not anti-magic. I've been trying to get into the Magic Castle here.
Oh, Magic's amazing.
Have you been to that place?
No, but I saw a guy in Vegas. I take my son to all Chris Angel and Copperfield and a couple other guys. One time, my son and I went and saw a Swedish magician, and my son and I could not stop laughing, and we ran out of the auditorium in fear because he did a trick, and we don't know how he did it. And we looked at each other and we were like, Scooby-Doo, let's get out of here. The van's on fire.
We had a magician come
What was his name? Hans what? Hans Klock. His final act is mystifying. It's the greatest trick in the history of trickdom.
We had a magician come into the radio station I was interning at in college.
Oh, those guys are good.
And
you know, if a guy's going to a college station, he is headlining at Caesars.
It was a real radio station. Right. But he asked me to go get a spoon from the office kitchen. So this is a real spoon that all of us use and wash or whatever. Gave it to him and he held his hands like this and the spoon slid across the table to his other hand. I left. So I'm like, I gave you this spoon. This is not a fake spoon. Very scary.
I have a couple tricks. Remember I showed you the trick with the quarter?
Yes. Don't worry, America. There will be no vests on the show. No vests.
I got my wife and then my show sister, and she does not allow me to embarrass myself.
Yeah, Ann and I are on the same page with the vest thing.
Okay, so I was watching. We all know there are certain people, like Brady's the best quarterback ever, right? The whole GOAT thing, and Jordan, LeBron, whatever. But then there are these. A term I would use is on any given night. Like I will say this. Like who's the greatest comedian of all time? Is it Richard Pryor, Jerry Seinfeld, Chris Rock, whoever it is? On any given night, Sam Kinison was the funniest guy on the planet. I saw Sam live 3 times, twice tragic, once I laughed until it hurt. I had stomach cramps the next day. On any given night, Sam Kinison was the funniest human being ever. But he wasn't consistent. His life was a bit of a mess. Seinfeld's more consistent. So is Chris Rock, right? Like Richard Pryor, all the legendary people. So Steph Curry is not the greatest basketball player, but he is an on any given night player. On any given night, he can do things that Jordan couldn't do, Kobe couldn't do, LeBron couldn't do, Kareem couldn't do. And I was thinking about this. If I was watching a Charles Barkley special on TNT last night, and he had Spike Lee, and they were talking about a bunch of stuff. Jackie McMullen, a beautiful young lady. I wasn't familiar with her. I think she's a big...
Renee Montgomery.
Who is that, by the way?
She's a basketball player.
Okay. And they were all just talking. It was a really cool thing. And they were talking about greatest teams. And he was, I love Charles. So I was thinking the best starting 5, if I was the GM and I get every basketball player ever and I get my all-time starting 5. So my all-time starting 5 is Magic at the point, Michael at the 2, LeBron at the 3, Larry Bird at the 4, and Kareem is the greatest, most underrated player ever, Kareem. And you can talk about Tim Duncan. Folks, you got to have somebody that can hit threes because Magic couldn't hit him, Michael couldn't hit him, Kareem couldn't hit him. You got to have a real starting 5. Larry Bird's in it, the best shooter of his generation, and probably after Magic, the best passer. There's not a lot of arguments here. Now, on the second team, my all-time starting 5. And again, it's a basketball team. I would go Isaiah Thomas. I would go Kobe Bryant, who's the closest thing to MJ. People forget how good Dr. J was. 11-time All-Star. He would have made 15 had he not played in the ABA. Titles, MVPs. He was never on a team that missed the playoffs. He was never on a basketball team that missed the playoffs. Dr. J, then I would put Duncan and Wilt Wilt's a little flaky. Kobe would end up kind of being the de facto leader on this team with Isaiah Thomas. And the reason I put Steph Curry on my third team, because I don't want Steph to take away shots from Kobe Bryant. So my third team would be Steph Curry, Jerry West, Charles Barkley, who I've always had a soft spot for. I saw Charles do something in Orlando one night. He played in Orlando, and I was at the game. I got great seats, and Charles Barkley had the greatest quarter of basketball I've ever seen. Literally, Orlando players were waving flags. It was left-handers, three-pointers, dunks. It was anything. Kevin Durant would be my 4, and Shaq would be my 5. Now, Akeem Olajuwon gave Shaq troubles, but Shaq, in his prime, nothing even looked like Shaq. So that would be. But Steph Curry's the interesting one. Because Steph Curry, Mike Tyson, Barry Bonds, and Randy Moss are my all-time on any given night guys. Jerry Rice is the best receiver ever. But on any given Sunday, Randy Moss did stuff that Jerry Rice could not do. And on any given night, Barry Bonds is better than Ted Williams and Lou Gehrig and Mickey Mantle and Babe Ruth. I mean, I once talked to a pitching coach in baseball like 20 years ago. We were just sitting there talking about Barry Bonds. It was during the whole steroid Barry Bonds thing, and he said Barry Bonds literally is the only batter in baseball history that doesn't have a weak spot. Now, at the time, Bonds was, maybe taking cattle steroids, whatever it was. But he's like, there's nowhere to pitch him. You can't pitch him outside low. Everybody's got like a hole, about the size of 2 baseballs, a hole. He goes, Barry Bonds doesn't have one. But you had some stuff with Barry you had to deal with. But I think that's the amazing thing about Steph Curry, is that Ray Allen, for the longest time, was the guy we thought was the best three-point shooter ever. Steph Curry surpassed him in half the number of games. Like, there's nothing close. Michael could not score this quickly. LeBron can't score this quickly. Kobe couldn't. Kareem couldn't. And I'm watching him last night, and very rarely are great players underrated. Michael didn't change the game. LeBron didn't change the game. Steph Curry changed the sport. Changed the sport. I've always said this about Peyton Manning. As great as Brady is, Manning changed it more. Because Manning was so intense intellectually. He made quarterback academic. Literally, if you didn't come to the line with like 4 audibles, like Big Ben, who ran a very kind of remedial audible system, a couple of hand gestures, then you literally, you can't look at Big Ben the same way you can look at Brady and Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning intellectually changed the position. Marino was a slinger, and a lot of these guys were just, they were distributors and slingers, and then Peyton brought this giant. You might as well just put a big brain at quarterback, and it forced Brady to be even more academic and more film. And when I watch Steph Curry, I think he's actually undervalued. I would put him on my on any given night, Mount Rushmore, and my third team starting lineup. I know a lot of you, Karl Malone, blah, blah, blah. Karl Malone didn't have a title. You say Charles Barkley didn't have a title, but Charles Barkley could do something Karl Malone couldn't. Barkley could score 3 different ways to score in basketball. Low post, Charles could do it. Transition, Charles was unbelievable, way better than Karl Malone. Or a 3-point shot, perimeter. Karl Malone was a pick and roll, down low and pick and roll. He wasn't shooting threes, and he didn't move in transition like Charles Barkley. Man, that's really... Nick Wright thinks he leads lists when it comes to like all-time basketball. Nope. Take a back seat right here, man. Steph Curry. All right, so I want to play this bite again. It's very rare when somebody is sort of a gold standard. There's a Jimbo Fisher bite. I want to play this Jimbo Fisher bite. Calling out Nick Saban, because Nick Saban called out Texas A&M for buying players. And it's all speculation. There's no proof on this stuff. If you have proof, show proof, right? And then this morning, Lane Kiffin said he's, for the first time in his life, speechless. Jimbo Fisher went personal because he felt Nick went personal, and he did. And so Jimbo went back at Nick Saban.
It's a shame that we have to do this. It's really despicable. It's despicable that somebody can say things about somebody and an organization. More importantly, 17-year-old kids. You're taking shots at 17-year-old kids and their families. And they broke state laws. They're all money. We bought every player on this group. We never bought anybody. No rules were broken. Nothing was done wrong. It was all in the way we do things, the ethics in which we do things. and these families, it's despicable that a reputable head coach could come out and say this when he doesn't get his way or things don't go his way.
Spicy. Bruce Feldman next. The current uncertainty throughout the world is leading to massive losses. Stock market down huge again today. Gold and precious metals maintain their value over the long haul. They provide you with stability, which the market doesn't right now, and a hedge against inflation. This market correction's not done. Our friends at Legacy Precious Metals are going to walk you through how gold can protect your wealth in unsteady times. And these are the unsteadiest in about 10 years. Legacy Precious Metals can advise you on how to roll your existing retirement account into a gold IRA. Explain why gold appreciates in value as the dollar depreciates. And provide steps if you want to hold metals in your home, gold and silver, you can. Give our friends at Legacy Precious Metals a call today. 866-674-HERD. 866-674-HERD. Maybe it's easier. Download the free investor's guide at legacypminvestments.com.